Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, June 3rd. Welcome to Morning Hair. Yes, Morning Hair. First of all, I'd like to point out that it was pointed out to me by my puppy that the Shakespeare play I was referring to yesterday should not have been Coriolanus. It should have been Cymbeline. Cymbeline. Don't think my dog's that smart that he would know that, because he went on to say, yeah, Coriolanus was President Trump's favorite book of the Bible. Remember Coriolanus 2? So he has gaps. But today we're going to we keep continuing our month of Shakespeare. Today we talk about the film Cymbeline. First, the hair that I have is the classic Ed Harris. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, Hargrove. Ed Harris has no hair. That's true now, but there must have been a time in the past where Ed Harris had hair. Okay, now he's rocking that ball look right now. But Cymbeline was a movie that came out in, well, one of Shakespeare's later plays, actually written in 1609, I think. Best guess, which is a full 14 years after Romeo and Juliet. You don't hear a lot about Cymbeline's later plays. Interestingly enough, I was close, because according to the Shakespeare website that I got this from, Cymbeline actually was the next play, or suspected to be the next play written after Coriolanus. So, but here's the connection. Cymbeline, that movie, struck me because of the number of science fiction connections. You had Ed Harris as the title character, Cymbeline, who in play was a Roman king at odds with Rome. Wait, a British king. I start back. In Cymbeline, Cymbeline was a Roman king who was at odds with Augustus Caesar. Okay, and so Ed Harris played Cymbeline, but in the movie version, Cymbeline was the leader of a ruthless biker gang at war with corrupt cops. And I'm not sure they pulled it over. Rotten Tomatoes like 39%. So, but lots of science fiction connections. Ed Harris is Cymbeline. You probably remember Ed Harris as the evil cowboy in Westworld. Before that, he was the good cowboy in Appaloosa. And before that, he was in Glengarry Glen Ross and a lot of other things. So, but the science fiction connection. The Queen is who I want to focus on. The Queen, who was played by Mila Jovovich. And think of the sci-fi connections there. Resident Evil, 1, 2, 3, 9, 15, 21, however many they've made. But also as Lilu in The Fifth Element, one of my favorite science fiction movies. Also, playing her son, Cloten, was Anton Yelchin, great young actor who tragically died last year, who played Mr. Chekhov in the new Star Trek movies. And but wait, there's more. Ethan Hawke was in there too. Ethan Hawke played somebody, I don't know, sorry, but from Gattaca. So a lot of science fiction connections there with Cymbeline. But I want to focus on the Queen, because she had, there was one point in the play where a representative from Rome had come and wanted to know why Cymbeline was no longer paying his tribute. Now, this was a tribute agreed to under Julius Caesar, of whom the Queen had some interesting words about Julius Caesar. This is her from Act 3, Scene 2, lines 1400 to 1400. A kind of conquest Caesar made here, but made not hear his brag of came and saw and overcame. With shame that first ever touched him, he was carried from off our coast, twice beaten, and his shipping, poor ignorant baubles, upon our terrible seas like eggshells moved upon their surges, cracked as easily against our rocks. So Cymbeline refuses to pay the tribute, mainly at the arguing of his wife. Okay, now she doesn't have a name; she's just called Queen. Anyway, she also knew about poison and stuff. So it always struck me that Shakespeare was interested in portraying women not always as just servile, submissive. No, the women parts in Shakespeare plays were just as important, if not more so, than the men parts. And this came a few years after Lady Macbeth, one of the great icons of evil to be found in the literary canon. So the Queen here is evil also, although she has a kind of offstage conversion and confession scene later on. But the whole play, Cymbeline, not performed very often. There is one scene where Imogen, who was the good girl, it takes a sleeping potion, and it's sort of the opposite of Romeo and Juliet, because at the end of Cymbeline, the young lovers survive, meet each other, hook up, and leave, and supposedly live happily ever after in the British Isles. Evil Queen dies, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Cymbeline. If you wake up with an Ed Harris, enjoy it, because that means in 10 to 15 years, it'll be gone. And as they always say, I don't mind if it goes gray as long as it doesn't go away. I don't mind if it turns gray as long as it doesn't turn loose. Any number of old cliches about that. But oh, getting thin. Funny thing about my hair, my part is getting wider and wider and wider. It's like a fault line there, and eventually my head's going to break up and some huge thing of wisdom is going to come, or I'm going to have a stroke. Okay, so that's it for today. Hey, everybody, have a good day, and we will see you tomorrow. Remember, our month of Shakespeare continues. Let's pick someone no one's ever heard of tomorrow. I'll tell you who. Till then, bye.